So take enough height under your buttocks so that your feet come in contact with your shins. So if your knees are elevated, I want you to grab a blanket, roll that blanket, and then place it in between your shins and your feet so that there's really something to let go into, so that you're not just dangling in the air, if you will. So if your shins come in contact with your feet, you don't need the blanket. But if they don't, I want you to roll it and take it in so that you can fully release today. Good. And then bring your hands to your mid-thighs. Slightly turn your palms out to the side. Gentle pressure goes down into your thighs to lift your chest. Join your palms together in front of your heart. Turn your attention in. Take a slow, smooth, even inhalation. Om Karabindu Samyutam Nityam Dhyayanti Yoginaha Kamadam Mokshadam Chaiva Om Karaya Namo Namaha Om Karabindu Samyutam Nityam Dhyayanti Yoginaha Kamadam Mokshadam Chaiva Om Karaya Namo Namaha Om Karaya Namo Namaha Om. Gently lift your side ribs. And bow your head down. Bring your hands down, palms up. Raise your head with closed eyes. And then slowly open those eyes. So we're going to start with downward dog at the wall. hands open to the wall. So you need a bolster and your mat up to the wall. And the hands, when you open them to the wall, they're turned out like this. So normal downward dog hands like this. These downward dog hands are going to be turned so the wall touches the thumb tip and the index finger tip. Head rests on the bolster. I'm going to do it with you today. So if you need to see it, you can look up here at any time. I'm going to take the mat to the wall. And you may find that you need to build this bolster up a little bit. Or for some of you, you'll even find that you want to just stack some blankets. You're not looking for your deepest downward dog today. So don't push yourself here. We're looking to go inside. So set your hands. Walk your feet back. Rest the top of your head. So I want you to try to get as close to the crown of your head as you can. So some of you will find that you'll hit the hairline of your forehead pretty easily. But today, can you go a little further back and go to the crown? And as you do that, allow your throat to remain soft. Ungrip your jaw and your teeth. Allow your cheeks to soften. Let go so much in your face that you can feel the skin of your cheeks just under your eyes where your cheekbones are. That skin flows towards the floor. And if you need to come down at any time, you simply take pose of a child with the bolster. But if you can stay today, I want you to stay. Allow your head to become heavier and heavier. Slowly begin to release your heels towards the floor. And really begin to withdraw your senses inside. Close your eyes. Let go of the outside world. Go inward. Notice if the grip of your jaw comes back in when you let it go. Puff air behind your lips as we stay for this last minute. Feeling the strength of your body, but also feeling the soft qualities. Now bend your knees to the mat. Walk your hands back. Take your big toes to touch. Widen your knees. Pull the bolster in and take pose of a child. You can either rest your head on your hands, so forehead on your hands, or you can take your head to either side of the bolster and let yourself rest. Wherever you decide to place your head, allow that head to become heavy. Bring your awareness back to the skin, just underneath your eyes, the cheekbones, your jaw. And if your head is turned to the side, allow that skin to flow towards the floor. So that you almost feel as if your lips are moving in one direction towards the floor, all the skin of your face being pulled with gravity. A full letting go. Let go in your belly. Your belly should be unrestricted by the bolster, so the bolster hits you at your lowest ribs, but it allows your abdomen to remain free. And now if you have your head turned to either side, please change the direction that your head is facing. So gently press yourself up. Turn the direction of your head. Reach for your opposite outer ear, and then go back inside. And if your head is resting on your hands on your forehead, you just simply remain there, allowing yourself to soften more and more. And those of you that change the direction that your head was facing, you may notice that tension comes not only in the face, but it can also come in the neck and shoulders. Scan your body moment by moment and ask those areas that are gripping to release. Slightly separate your teeth. And if you really let go of the skin in your face, you may find that your lips part slightly. Slowly take your hands back underneath your shoulders. Press yourself up. And pick up a block and a blanket. So the bolster can go off to the side. We're taking Prasarita Padottanasana with the head supported. So you'll want to take the block to either the medium height. Some of you will want to take this block to the high height. And some of you will find that the low height works just fine for you. So it's really a navigation of where you hit your head in the most firm way. So I'm going to tri-fold the blanket. And I'm going to take the blanket right across the block. Now notice that the block is the long way. So if I'm looking at it, it's the long way this way. It's not turned wide. If it's turned wide, it's not going to support enough of your head. So it needs to be turned so that it's lengthwise facing you. Then you can cover it with a blanket. You can even fold that blanket if you need to. We're going to take Prasarita Padottanasana with the crown of the head on the blanket and the arms in downward dog. So you'll start with your feet wide. Set the crown of your head on the support. And then walk your hands forward for downward dog. So a good way to tell if your arms are in downward dog is if you can feel your thumb tips gently graze against the blanket. And those of you with shoulder pain or injuries, you can watch up here. You're welcome to take your hands out to the sides to start. Or if just having your arms this far out is too much, you can take your hands back. Rest the backs of your hands on the floor and push your shoulders up away from your ears. So those are a couple of options if you need a variation. But those of you who can, parallel your arms. Set the crown of your head on the support. So not the hairline, slightly behind. A couple of inches. And then turn your attention in. So I'm not giving you a lot of directions today. But instead, I'm asking you to set the pose. And then find a meditative quality in that posture. You could call this restorative or relax deeply or yoga on the inside. But we're looking for that meditative state so that we're not so consumed with the outside world, not so consumed with the physicality of the postures, though I teach that often. We're looking for something a little different today. So allow the crown of your head to become heavy, weighted. For those of you who don't practice headstand, Shirshasana, this is a wonderful alternative for you because you can meter the weight in your head.
the less you use your hands, the more weight you can take into the crown. Now, if you started with your hands wide, I want you to start walking them in towards parallel. And if you started with your hands parallel, I want you to creep your fingers out, creating more length in your side bodies, more length in your outer arms. But be mindful not to roll onto the back crown of the head. Though that is traditional, today I want you to stay really centered on the top. And even though we're turning the attention in today, don't lose sight of the strength in your legs, the grip of your knees, the spin of your thighs, the pressure in your feet. But instead, do all of those things that you know to do and then go in. Good. Take the weight to the top of your head. Release your hands and place them underneath your shoulders.
Press yourself halfway up. And then heel toe your feet until you're comfortable to come all the way up. Join your feet and stand in Tadasana. Keep the expression on your face soft. So we just spent several minutes turning our awareness in, softening our gaze, softening our facial features and muscles of our cheeks. Allow that quality, those qualities to stay with you. Now we're going to take Uttanasana with support for the head. So you'll take one block, or two, or a chair, depends, and you'll place the blanket directly over top for comfort. And then you're going to take your feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. Bend your knees to set the top of your head. Hold the backs of your ankles and slowly straighten your legs. So you'll want to build the height up enough so that you can actually stay here for
a few minutes. So if you come to this position where I have one block with one blanket, and you find that your legs are screaming at you, it would be a good idea to take a little bit of extra support under your head and back yourself up a little bit. If stacking blocks does not work for you, you can always use a chair. Once you find the setup that works for you, I want you to return to your face, to your cheeks, your eyes. Allow that energy to settle. And then you may find that your belly presses outwards, that your abdomen slightly grips. I want you to soften your abdomen, especially your low belly, and pull your navel in towards your spine. You really allow it towards your spine. It's not a grip in. It's a softening in. Your elbows come out to the sides. Upper back broadens. Upper back pulls the skin tight. So as you stay here, take a couple of deep breaths into your upper back body. See if you can help the upper back broaden a little bit more, and a little bit more as time goes by. Notice if there's tension that creeps into the back of your neck. And elongate the back of your neck. Soften both sides along your spine. And now very slowly, take your hands to the floor. Bend your knees and roll yourself up.
Pick up a chair. So you need a chair, a bolster, and a blanket. Actually, why don't you grab 2 blankets just to be sure. So you're going to take your chair to the wall. I placed a sticky mat on the chair for comfort. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not sure what's going on here. And then you're going to take the bolster, fold 2 blankets, one the long way, just like the length of the bolster, and the second one the same length. And I like to alternate the sides that the round edge of the blanket is on. So one round edge on one side, one round edge on the other. Now, if you don't have a chair, I want you to take Supta Baddha Konasana. So you'll take a folded blanket for your head, join your feet, so this is if you don't have a chair. The rest of you can set this up. You'll take the belt around your waist, around the outsides of your feet. And then simply arc and lie back in Supta Baddha Konasana. So this is the alternative if you don't have a yoga chair. The rest of you I want you to carefully step through the chair and just watch for a moment. You're going to carefully step through the chair. Normally in chair back bend, we're taking the heels to the wall or as close to the wall as we can. Today, I just want you to support your metatarsals and your toes, so the top half of your foot against the wall. So you're going to arc your chest, lie back. Crown of your head comes to the support. So if you get here and you're not touching, you may need to reach back and fold the blankets to come up a little bit higher. Or you may need to come fully out of the chair and get a couple of more blankets. So be willing to change because I want your head to be firm. So you set the top, hold the chair, slowly straighten your legs. Top half of your foot is supported by the wall. You can take your feet hip distance apart. And then I want you to rest your arms on the bolster as well. So if this doesn't work for your arms, you can always fold your hands on your belly. Or even hold the chair legs. So you want to make sure that you have good contact in your head because we're going to stay here for a little bit. Legs are wide, like hip distance or a little bit wider. Legs are straight. Just the metatarsals and toes hold the wall. The crown of your head comes to the support, arms supported. And once you have everything set, I want you to go inside. And you'll begin to notice what bubbles up for you. It'll be different than what bubbled up in the forward bends. The physicality is very different. The backs of the legs are out of the picture now. And then now you may start to feel your lower back speak to you. And one way that you can help alleviate that is to grip your buttocks from the outside in, which will help to release the fronts of your legs a little bit more, which will help release your lower back. Bring your awareness to the back of your neck. So you're not trying to overextend your neck, but instead allow your neck to flow like a waterfall. So if you feel like there's crunching or crinkling of the neck skin, slightly tuck your chin, not all the way, just a little bit to make some extra length and room. And some of you will find that as you rest your feet, your weight comes more to the pinky toe side of your feet. See if you can press the mounds of your big toes. Work your legs and your buttocks, but keep the quality of your mind, the quality of your face, the quality of your entire being soft. And if you want to add a little more into the physical body, bring your awareness to where the chair hits you in your upper back and grip those upper back muscles into the chair seat, pulling your spine up and away from the metal. And as you add a layer to the physicality of the pose, can you release another layer towards meditation, towards taking the path of the observer instead of the path of reaction? because a lot of us have the tendency to react. Whether it's to the pain in our body, to the past or future thoughts that come in when we become quiet and still, to external circumstances in our life, we react. So instead, can we observe? Now very slowly take your hands over your head and grab the back of the chair. If you're in Supta Baddha Konasana, you can loosen the belt and join your knees. If you're in the chair, put both feet on the floor. And then very slowly, so not to whip yourself up out of this pose, but very slowly press your elbows, lift your chest, come up chest first, head last, and then sit back on the chair seat. Rest. Those of you with your feet on the floor in Supta Baddha Konasana, just allow your feet to separate and your knees to fall into one another. Slowly let your lower back release. And then very carefully step out of the chair, being mindful of the props that are behind you. We'll take the same setup for shoulder stand, so you can keep a mat on your chair. And then those of you who aren't doing shoulder stand, you're going to do Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. So I'm going to show that first. So if you're not doing shoulder stand, you're going to take a bolster with a blanket on top to the wall. If you're doing shoulder stand, we're taking it in the chair, and you can go ahead and get in as soon as you're ready. You'll take one blanket, tri-fold the blanket, one block close by, and then you're going to start close. Place your shoulders on the tri-folded blanket. Back of the head comes to the floor. You'll press your hips up, place the block underneath your sacrum, and then when you go to straighten your legs, you're going to hold the block and slide. So best not to have a mat. Feet come to the wall. Walk your shoulders in, palms face up. So if you're not doing shoulder stand or you're on your cycle, this is going to be the pose that you'll take. The rest of you, you'll take shoulder stand in the chair. You can place a blanket over top of that sticky mat if you'd like. I'm going to go with my legs straight up today. So if you want to watch anything in shoulder stand, I want you to be out of the pose watching, because I don't want you to look at me when you're in the pose already. So it's fine to watch, but watch before you get in. So I'm just going to slowly slide back. Shoulders come to the bolster. Back of your head comes to the floor. And you're setting the sacrum on the edge of your chair. And then one leg at a time, I'm going to take my legs straight up, which is really a variation on Viparita Karani in the middle of the room. If you'd like, you can take your legs to the back bar. That's also an option. It's an easier way to stay on the chair. And if you decide to take your legs straight up, I want you to really work on lifting your chest as much as you possibly can and dropping your upper buttocks, middle buttocks onto the chair seat. Whether you take the variation of Setu Bandha Sarvangasana or you take the shoulder stand variations in the chair, your legs are straight, internally rotating. So when we practice in this way of going deep inside, we're not practicing in a lazy way. We're actually practicing in a more deliberate, methodical way, where we're aware of the setups, the alignments, the physical posture of the pose of the body. So we're not just flopping or laying over things. You could consider this type of practice somewhat more advanced along the path, where we don't need to be doing this or that every moment, but that we really can give ourselves the space to observe, to go in, to stay. Bring your awareness back to the muscles of your face, to the very beginning of class where you allowed those cheekbone skin to fall towards the floor with gravity. Can you do that again here? And notice that when you soften your face in that way, that you actually release your neck and the tops of your shoulders just by releasing the skin of your cheeks. That the back of your neck becomes a little bit longer. And if you're able to fully let go, you may feel or hear
a deep yet faint pulsing in your ears. Feel a softening of both sides of your throat. And it's very real to feel a struggle with your legs. But in that struggle, can you ask yourself, what might help me relieve this? If I grip a little bit more, does it allow the crease of the fronts of my legs to soften? Or if I lift my chest, can I straighten my legs a little bit more? Maybe it's time to take my legs to the back bar. Or she said something about inner rotation. Maybe I should rotate my legs a little bit more. Be willing to search for the comfort. If you're in Setu Bandha Sarvangasana on the floor, I want you to carefully bend one knee at a time and put both feet on the floor. And then I want you to press your feet, lift your buttocks, and remove the block from under your sacrum. And slowly, very slowly lower your buttocks to the floor and rest. Those of you in shoulder stand in the chair, now you can bend your knees. Take your feet to the back bar or to the chair seat. And then slowly slide out. Resting your upper buttocks, sacrum, lower back on the bolster. Calves on the chair seat. Arms come out to the sides, palms face up. Those of you who are in Setu Bandha, roll to your right side. Come all the way up and take Shavasana with a bolster under your knees. And if you have to do some maneuvering or moving to get this bolster or the chair at the proper distance, do all of that with the state of being that you've created for the last hour. Try not to be on alert. But allow yourself to be continually held through the process, comforted. And once you've set yourself, in a comfortable position, let go and go inside.
Now, very slowly, I want you to just open your eyes just a slit. So just let the light pierce in, allow the vision of the room that you're in to come in a very soft way. And then all of you bend your knees into your chest, roll to your right side, press yourself all the way up, and take a cross-legged seat on the bolster. Rest your hands, palms face up, on your thighs. Close your eyes. Let your head float. Now please join your palms together in front of your heart. Take a slow, smooth, even inhalation. Namaskar.